What's up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome to the Warframe video. So we're finally doing a video on Protea because they buffed her, and she's definitely a lot better than release. I'll give her that. Still don't think she's top tier, but either way, I'm going to be showing you how she works in this video. I do use her every now and then, but you know, like, we'll show what she's useful for. So make sure you check out the Twitch channel if you haven't already. Make sure you sub to the YouTube if you have not already. I actually saw the other day that a lot of people that watch my videos are not actually subbed. So make sure you sub. It helps the channel out a lot, and it lets you know when all the videos go up immediately. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get into Protea. So she is the newest friend. I say this every video when I make a build. She's the newest friend they just added, and she comes from the Granum Void and the Deadlock Protocol quest. So as we can see right here, we have 125 armor at base, 150 energy, 100 health, and 150 shield with a 1.2 sprint speed. And her passive is every fourth ability you cast gets 100% additional power strength. That's not affected by mods. We'll go over her abilities just one by one, but basically she comes from the Deadlock Protocol quest, and she can be a little bit annoying to farm. You have to get for the Granum Void parts, the low level Granum Void is going to drop one of her parts, middle level is going to drop one of them as well, and the high level is going to drop another different one. And they all have 11% drop rate, the lowest drop rate of most of the stuff there. Alright, so for her first ability, it's got two functionalities. If you just tap the first ability, you throw out some grenades that make this area of slash damage and like CC. And it can proc slash. This is actually somewhat decent against low-level unarmored enemies. So, for example, like a corpus jump. Let's just get this guy. He actually will die to this slash nade. It's not really good against high-level armor at all because it gets negated. The damage you're actually doing gets negated by armor, so the slash procs you get are also much weaker. So this guy's level 175. If he was level 50, he probably would have died in like a couple procs there. So that's pretty good for CC. You can also just spam it all over the place. You keep in mind this does have a very long cast time for an ability. So against armored enemies, the focus is not the damage, the focus is the CC. But against unarmored enemies, it's more of a kill them with the slash procs kind of thing. So pretty good for covering a big area with your slash nades there. Now the first ability has a second functionality. If you hold the button down, you throw out these little shield satellites, I guess they're technically called, and then if you walk over them, so you have to first throw them out and then walk over them, your teammates or your cats and dogs, etc., can pick up these shield nades. They will give you a maximum shield, like those give you a big chunk of shield. So with this build, it's about like 1,000 shield right off the bat, and you'll also have shield regeneration per second. It can be really good for just face tanking some enemies. It also, like I said, it also works on your companions, so they can actually get some big shields as well. And with adaptation and things like that, you actually are really, really tanky, especially with that shield regen per second. Some things to keep in mind with this shield grenade ability. If your shield goes all the way down to 0, it will break. The grenade that you attach to yourself will break, and you will have a longer shield gating window than normal. But you will need, if you want to get your shield regen back, you will need to immediately recast the ability. And that is what is a little bit scary sometimes. Thankfully, if you use rolling guard, things of that nature, you can actually stay invincible for a long time with just this ability. So that's why she can technically be viable at high levels. And now that she's gotten buffed, I'm actually more okay with playing her at high levels. Because before, it was actually kind of annoying. You'd have to like... I think I'm on the wrong build right now, but this should technically work. So, if they even shoot... So, as you see right there, shield regen going back up. Throw my shield grenade out. The cat got shield getting back. They actually added shield getting to cats recently. And this is not even the high level build right now. So, as long as I can cast this ability and pick it back up, I will be good to go. And this is, like I said, this is not even the build meant for this high of levels. So, pretty good stuff there. It also works on your teammates, like I mentioned. But here's the annoying thing about it working on your teammates. They need to walk over the nade. So it's going to require either camping, so you need to like throw this out and your teammates like know that you threw the shield grenade out, or you need to like hit them with the shield nade as they're walking. With this really long casting animation and the hop you get forced to do in there, this is with natural talent by the way, it can be a little bit annoying. So that's what it does. It's a good ability. It's just, it takes a long time to cast it. Now, her second ability is called Blaze Artillery, aka it's totally not a turret. So you place down this totally not a turret, and it watches a conal area that you've pointed it in, and it will start firing on enemies in that area. It's moddable by duration and strength, and the way it works is that if there's an enemy in there and it starts firing, the more it starts firing on enemies, it gets a damage multiplier. As you can see right there, 2x, 3x, it keeps going up. That is going to, like, the longer duration you have, the more it can fire. It used to have ammo, it has infinite ammo now. So basically, if you get a bunch of enemies in the same area and then use the turret, it will actually build up these shots a lot quicker. Or it'll build up the damage multiplier a lot quicker. So if you're fighting normal enemies, like level 50s or whatever with no armor, it's going to one-shot them all, and you're not even going to see a big multiplier most of the time. But that's fine, because they're all going to be dead, so who even cares if you have a big multiplier? Because for level 50 enemies, like, it's gonna pretty much one-shot unarmored, and for armored it will probably take a little bit longer. Keep in mind, you don't normally, this is a simulacrum situation right here. You don't normally see this many enemies in one area at all. So there's the base damage with no viral stacking, anything like that. So that's level 50s. It is killing some of them, so to be fair, it's a lot better than launch. And it looks like it's critting on every shot. I don't believe it has a crit multiplier. As you can see, we have the orange crit cat buff right there, and it's not getting orange crits. So either a visual, because when she was released, it was just white damage numbers. You weren't seeing yellow at all. I think they might have just made it yellow to make it look cooler, because you are not actually critting. We have done lots of testing with crits, and it does not seem to be having a crit multiplier or anything along the lines of that. So that's what it does. You can place down multiple turrets at once, just go completely ham. Range will also affect how far the turret is going to acquire targets from. So a relatively good ability, and it does only, you cannot mod that. It does heat damage only, and it can proc heat, as you saw there, which reduces enemy armor and gives them a damage over time effect. So her third ability is a pretty good one, actually. So what it is, it's called Dispensary. You use your third ability, and you start getting a little care package, and it will drop health orbs, which are like super health orbs. Universal ammo, which does work on arc guns, by the way, or heavy weapons, whatever they're called in actual missions, and then they're also going to drop energy orbs. So it does. It starts with health, then goes to ammo, then goes to energy, and after that, it just seems to like kind of just give you whatever you need at the time. That's at least what it seems like to me. So I'll spam that, and it's like, oh, I need energy. It gives me an energy orb from the dispenser after it's gone through the initial health, ammo, and energy. So really good with Arcane Energize, really good with energy conversion if you want to use that. I chose not to do that. It's also really good with Equilibrium, but I also chose not to use Equilibrium on either of my two builds I'll be showing you today. So a relatively nice ability. It does have a duration, and power strength will actually influence. You can sometimes get double drops. So as you saw right there, the first one dropped 2 health orbs. The second time we cast it was an RNG chance to get a second health orb. We did not get a second health orb there. So yeah, pretty good stuff. Lets you sustain energy. Energy will be the one you'll be mostly getting out of there. So keep that one in mind. And then the final ability, oh, by the way, that cannot be moved. It's a stationary item, so if you're like running through an exterminate or something like that, it's gonna not really be helping too much, unfortunately. So the fourth ability is called Temporal Anchor, and this one has quite a few things going with it. So let's just show what it does right off the bat. So I use the fourth ability, and then I start a time anchor. So like right there is where I started it. I can start using abilities, wasting all my energy. When the timer goes out down, I actually return to where I started, get all my energy, all my health, all my ammo, etc., back, and it will actually let me. So I can spam abilities willy-nilly after using my 4, as long as I have energy to use it. That is. So I would really highly recommend Arcane Energize on this frame. But if you don't have it, like, you might want to just run Xeneric. Might want to run with maybe even Equilibrium. Just whenever you pick up a health orb, it gives you energy as well. But the build I'll be showing you is basically meant for players that have everything in the game. And Arcane Energize is pretty much a staple of your loadout at this point. So that's one of the things it does. It also does some other things. So it does some blast damage. So depending on how much damage you actually deal, while you're using your 4, you actually will release an explosion, and it's blast damage, not very good against armor, but as you saw right there, I used my 4, smashed that guy with the hammer, and then used 4 again. You can reactivate it early, and it releases a damage explosion in the area of however much damage you were dealing, or at least a portion of it. So let's just quickly show how bad it is against armor. This is kind of just like gimmicky, but I wanted to show it just because it is technically a thing you can do. 14,000, and they took about 1,500 with the armor damage reduction on there. So, you know, it's something you could technically do for like the most like dollar store Equinox you've ever seen. So let's get into build. That was all the abilities there. A couple little things I didn't mention, but overall, just the things to remember with her is that first ability gives slash CC and shields if you hold it, or it gives you slash damage if you don't hold it, and then shields if you do hold it, and then 2 is like the fire turret, the 3 is the dispenser, and 4 is like a button you don't really use that often, but it can technically let you spam abilities. So here's the low level lazy build. At level like 50, 80-ish enemies, they will never even hurt you. Well, they will shoot you, but you will never actually die unless it's toxin damage, because she is very shield dependent. This is what I was running for the mission we'll be showing in a little bit. So we've got adaptation for increased damage reduction on shields. We've got prime vigor just to make it so we have a bigger health pool in case we do get a toxin proc here or there. And we can let's just let this be lazy, honestly. Prime sure-footed. If you don't have prime sure-footed, like most people don't have prime sure-footed, you can. There's lots of options for this top slot. You could even put on speed drift for even faster casting speed. You can put on power drift for even more shields, even more damage from your second ability, even higher chance to get extra pickups from your 3. But I'm running prime sure-footed just, as I said, it's a low-level lazy build. Really high range, so you can actually CC a large area with your 1. It also makes it easier to pick up your shield nades. I'd say range is one of the most important stats on her. And as you can see, with the amount of strength we have, we get 720 shields when we use our shield nade, and then we have 720 shields. Now, we technically do have the auger mod and brief respite, so we'll be getting more than 720 shields, but this will let us entirely reset our shield gating with 1 cast of our 1. We're also using Arcane Aegis. 3% of the time, it works every time, and it will let you regenerate your shield. Even though you have shield regen, it's just doubling up on that shield regen, making you like extremely tanky. So this is pretty good stuff right here. I do consider natural talent a staple on her. Highly recommend it. Let's quickly show how slow her shield grenade is without it. Look at how much slower that was. It definitely felt like 50% longer. The turret... That turret doesn't feel that much longer without natural talent, to be honest. But one of the most... I say actually her most important ability is her 1. And the amount of time it takes to cast your 1 without natural talent, it feels really sluggish. So that was my logic going into that. So yeah, that's the low-level build. A little bit of strength here, just get some duration. Duration's going to let you hold on to your shield nade for longer. And here's the endurance build. So this one's going to utilize rolling guard and even higher range to allow you to CC a larger area. It's also going to let you your teammates pick up your shield nades whenever you want to. And as you see, we have no prime vigor on here, so this amount of strength allows us to get our full shield gating just from 1 cast, just like we wanted to. Arcane Energize pretty much required because we'll be running Naramon for the situation, and Arcane Strike to increase our DPS with our melee. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where if you want to basically be permanent invincible with Protea, this is how you do it. Now we're going to need to get some Arcane Energize procs here. I'm going to jump in there with full energy. Alright, so use our 3. As you saw, our shield, we almost died there, but we were able to cast with natural talent fast enough to pick up the shield nade again. Now, of course, you should be doing things while you're getting attacked like this at high levels, so let's go ahead and do that. But yeah, if our shield broke, we would do rolling guard. We were able to get our shield back in time over there to not even have to use rolling guard, but basically if your shield breaks, use rolling guard. While you're in rolling guard invincibility, cast your 1 again. Are they gonna? They're shooting my cat. Come on, shoot me instead. Okay, here we go. Rolling guard. While in rolling guard, make sure you cast your 1 immediately to pick up the shield nade, and you could just do that all day long. if you're actually playing properly. So that's the idea of this. I don't know if I'd really call it extremely viable, but it is something that is technically something you could do. So the thing is, like, I just consider Mag to be much better than Protea for shield getting shenanigans. I feel like even Trinity might be better for shield getting shenanigans, because the thing is, like, if you're going to be being a shield getting support for your teammates, they need to walk over these nades. That's the really annoying thing. Now I know it's supposed to be balanced that way, but like your teammates need to know that you are putting these in a certain spot. That's why high range is one of the reasons the high range is really useful. I'll top into a mission gameplay here. So I do think that she is. I don't know if I'd say good. She's okay, but she's not like the new meta support, and I do consider her more of a support than a DPS. You technically could use against unarmored enemies her 4 gimmick explode build, or not build, but just the functionality of the gimmick explode. And you can also use the slash nades for unarmored enemies, and the fire turret does okay against armored enemies if you stack up viral, and you have heavies, so you can keep firing over and over again. But that's the thing. I feel like she's very weapon dependent at high levels. Pretty much every frame is weapon dependent at high levels. But I feel like I would just rather bring Mag or Wisp or Trin as a support instead of Protea. But, you know, Protea looks really cool. I do like how this custom helmet I have on her, it kind of looks like she's wearing a baseball cap with a ponytail in the back. Kind of like an actual like mechanic working on some cars or something like that. And you might have noticed that we're actually using the wrench skin for the hammer. So you're actually just an engineer working on stuff. She's supposed to be like Protea's, or she's supposed to be like Vauban's niece, I think is what people were saying. Oh, but yeah, like I mentioned, you can have infinite arc gun ammo. That's like my favorite thing for her, is to just use the Larkspur as a primary weapon. So I'll equip the Larkspur in the mission, use my 3, and it drops that universal ammo, which does count as heavy ammo. So you could just use the arc gun the entire mission unless you unequip it on accident. So we hopping into a Kuva Flood Exterminate right here. We're running Naramon. I probably would have run Zeneric for this normal low-level mission, but, you know, I forgot to equip Zeneric, whatever. So I don't think we were able to cast until we got a energy orb, but it was not a big deal. Like I did say, if you do not have Arcade Energize, make sure you're equipping Zeneric. Make sure you might even want to run Equilibrium. Now, the thing about Equilibrium, there's a trick with it. You actually want to run, to make sure you're getting like permanent energy with Equilibrium, you need to run a special mod on your companion. And that mod is called, is it Synth Fiber? Yep, Synth Fiber. So health orbs increase armor for companions by 100% for 12 seconds. It has a hidden functionality that it actually lets you pick up health orbs when you're at full health. So that means when you're playing Protea and you use your 3rd ability, the dispenser, you can pick up the health orb, and it will, with Equilibrium equipped, it will give you a amount of energy as well. So it basically turns energy orbs into health orbs, or dual orbs, and it turns health orbs into dual orbs as well. So that can be really good. I did not opt to use that on here, but it technically is. You could replace one of the mod slots with Equilibrium. That honestly might even be a good idea, but like I said, I chose not to do that. I have gotten consistent enough energized proc. You could take off Stretch on this build if you wanted to, and run Equilibrium. Or you could take off Cunning Drift. If you wanted to forma differently, like I was going to say, I actually regretted putting one of the V polarities on this build. I'd say put another dash polarity on here, or just don't even bother with another forma. So you can actually fit Equilibrium on here. But, you know, I'm not going to forma her again right now. I'm not really in any rush to, like, I need Equilibrium, or I can't play, no. So, yeah, I'd say don't put the second V polarity on her that I did, because I decided to not use as much strength as I ended up initially thinking I wanted to mod her for. So, as you see, we're just running around with the Larkspur, Hildren's signature arc gun, and we've got infinite ammo. So, now that we've gotten the basics out of the way, let's go over some uses for Protea, and it's not really like super complicated. So I'm just going to go over this right here. So what I consider her useful for is a shield getting support, and like we've mentioned before, it is a little bit annoying to use because your teammates need to walk over the nades, and you know, it is, you get good value for walking over them. Like it's gonna give you some good shields, gonna give you some shield regen. You will be pretty tanky, especially if you have adaptation. But you know, like Mag, if you saw the Mag and Trinity video from a couple weeks ago, it's not on that level at all. But whatever. Secondary use: Orb Dispenser, Energy Conversion, Arcane Energize. If your teammates know, if you like are super min-maxing your squad, and you're like, all right guys, well let's all run Energy Conversion, the mod that lets you get 50% additional power strength on the next ability after picking up an Energy Orb. She technically can help you do that. And of course, Arcane Energize. If everyone's got Arcane Energize, like most high level players have, it's gonna let you just run Naramon pretty reliably. Decent crowd control, third use, spam one to cover a huge area. I didn't really show that too much in this gameplay, but with high range, like the Endurance build has 265% range, you can spam that, like, cover the entire map with CC, and at low levels, it will kill them as well. So pretty nice stuff there. It sticks around for a duration. And Dollar Store Mesa with her turret, really only good against unarmored. I showed some enemies get killed by the turret that were armored, but it does require some setup there. And then Endless Arc Gun Ammo, my favorite use for her. Use her as basically a arc gun ammo dispenser. So, yeah, that is pretty much going to be it for the video. As I said, you can use the turret against armored enemies, but it's actually going to require a little bit of sub. So I'm actually using a Ferox with Viral and Electric. Pretty nice for CO procking, but also it pulls all the enemies in together, so it will let you keep firing shots off. Because the more shot, like I said earlier, the more shots you fire off with your turret, the more damage it will deal because it ramps up. So if look at this hallway right here. My turret's gonna be doing 0 damage because there's only like 1 or 2 enemies in these hallways. But then again, like these guys are low level enough with no armor, it won't even take that many shots to kill them, regardless. So if you're fighting like armored high level enemies and you want the turret to be doing the damage, first off, you don't know what you're doing. If you want your turret to be doing damage at high levels, that's going to be mostly melee or your other weapons taking the handling the situation there. But what you technically would want to do is viral stack the enemies, maybe even remove their armor with corrosive procs, and then plop down the turret, plop down 2 turrets, honestly, for good measure, and just hope that it's going to kill them, because at really high levels, melee is your best bet, damage buffing is your best bet. I don't believe that I tried test out Vigorous Swap on her turret, it does not seem to work. Things like Rhino Roar should work. I haven't actually tested that extensively, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. It buffs ability damage already, so this is technically an ability. I don't believe it is coded into the game as a weapon, because if it did, then the Adarza Kavat would make it crit, or it might. It's probably not a weapon, alright? I haven't done like every testing possible to determine if it's actually coded as a weapon or not, but it does not seem to be one, so. Yeah, hopefully this video was helpful. Like I said, make sure you guys sub to the channel if you have not already. Want to get that sub number up if possible. And let's just quickly show the turret against these guys with what I was talking about. Alright. So, as you see, their armor got melted off. The Ferox is giving them Viral procs. And I can't cast my 2 for some reason. There's still some bugs with her. Keep that in mind. There's still some bugs. The turret will sometimes not fire on ragdolled enemies. But, yeah. I'm going to call it here, guys. It technically can work, and I consider her a good addition to the arsenal. Not exactly top tier, as we mentioned earlier, and it will be a tier list this week. Protea, definitely, thankfully she got her buffs, and she'll be higher than she was going to be a couple days ago. So, talk to you later. Peace.